pride goes before a fall. We've probably heard this saying many times, and we hear it again echoed in the words of St. Paul to the Corinthians. St. Paul talks about the immoralities that the Corinthians have fallen into, sins of the flesh. And he talks about how instead of being sorrowful for what they've done, the Corinthians seem to be proud of what they've done. They're not at all ashamed. Now, why is it that St. Paul is concerned so much about their pride? Well, one of the reasons is because pride is the root of many sins. We could say the root of all sins. We know that the first sin, the sin of the devil, was the sin of pride. The devil says to God, I don't need you. I don't need you at all. I am self-sufficient, and so I will not serve you. The same attitude can sometimes seep into those of us who seek to be religious. Sometimes when we have success in living virtuously, when we do well in living out our vows, when we do well in living a way of life that is according to the gospel, we start to think at times that we are doing this all by our own power. We are doing it all by our own effort, and we forget how much we rely on God's grace. When this sin of pride seeps in, and when it takes deep root, at times God allows us to fall into very base sins, sins of lust, sins of gluttony. Why? So that we might realize how much we rely on Him even for the most simple things. We think that, I can control my diet, I can control sort of my passions, because I'm such an intelligent guy. I'm such a self-control, well-put-together guy. I'm fine. So God allows us to fall into small sins, into very base sins, to show us, hey, you need my grace. You are not independent, and without me, you will fall again. So let us then pay attention to this. As we strive to live lives of virtue, let us also be aware of the fact that God is constantly holding us up, that He is constantly giving us grace to live these virtuous lives. That if it is for any reason that we do what is good, it is because God allows us to do that. That God is supporting us, pushing us, moving us to do what is right. And we must cooperate with that. We are never self-reliant in the spiritual life. We always rely on Him. Let us pray for the grace of humility, that we might recognize His power in our lives, we might always acknowledge His grace, and we might not fall again into sin.